Some say weather in Skyrim is cold, but a long night work in the forge is enough to warm any man's bones. Of course! I wouldn't be a very good blacksmith if I turned down requests, especially from a true hero. Just tell me what kind of metal and I'll take care of it. Are you sure? It's much easier to make a new one. Reforging is something you do with family heirlooms and the like. Now that's a strange request. Not in and of itself, but you're the third person to ask me that this week. I'll tell you what I told the others. The forge in Kvatch is special, and it isn't just for blood. Two Nords could have easily been brothers, come separately though, so they couldn't have known each other. One of them dropped her name a couple of times to point out the urgency of his quest. Maybe he was trying to impress me as well. So is it true then? This whole thing about a descendant of Ysgramor? I'm a bit conflicted. I'd never forge arms against the Empire, but the chance to forge a weapon to slay a legendary beast? Aye, that's a job for me. True, the Nord said as much. No true-blooded Nord would challenge the kin of Ysgramor. To explain that, I need to explain a bit about smithing. See, when you quench a blade, you can't just use water or brine. You need to add a bit of oil to keep the thin sections from cracking, because otherwise the steam will get between the water and the blade. That makes for an uneven quench. Of course, if your well is big enough, it'll make sure the liquid stays in contact regardless. But I'm guessing we'll only have so much blood to work with. In that case, we need to brew a special oil, one that doesn't contaminate the liquid. Aye, I'm considering it. It's always been my dream to forge great weapons like this. I've actually got everything I need, with the exception of one thing. I need a bit of blood grass shipped from home. That's where the oil comes from. The problem is, the East Empire Company's been through a bit of a rough patch lately, and it's hard to get rare goods. Maybe you could talk to my contact Cyrus over in Windhelm, and see if he can't get it shipped sooner.
Yes, yes. What do you want? Oh, I take it you're one of Isabel's friends. Look, I already placed the order, and the shipment would have arrived already if not for those bandits. So I did exactly what it says in the company manual, Section 1A of Chapter 12, page 143. When you have a pirate problem, hire an adventurer. Of course. Even if he's dead, it's likely he took a few of those pirates with him. So you see, suddenly the cost of stealing our cargo has gone up. It's more trouble than it's worth. Which means they're going to fence it soon. We just have to find this person and eliminate him. Do you want your precious bloodgrass or not? Then stop being a brat and listen. You see, I have a source in the black market. He also happens to be a dark elf, and every week he goes to pray over by Refugees' Rest. Now one day, he says he came across a curious thing. One of the cairns had an iron dagger stuck in the snow beside it. Even more curious is the fact that the very next day, the black market was bustling with fresh cargo. No, we don't want to spook him, and I think the dagger is a mutual sign, meaning either the fence or the pirate can place it. That means they'll both be meeting somewhere once you put it there. You will have to play it by ear. If the meet is somewhere private, feel free to kill them so long as you find out the drop location. If it's somewhere public, then your only job is to find out where the cargo is and retrieve it. That's your priority. Good. Here's the dagger. If you'll notice, the hilt is chipped. That's how you will know it's the one you left at the cairn, in case you lose track of him in a crowd. But please, try not to be seen.
I saw the dagger. You've got something for me?
What do you mean you saw the dagger? Ain't you the one who put it there?
You've let the skooma cloud your memories, Fetcher. Do you have merchandise for me or not?
I do, as a matter of fact. Got some dried bloodgrass straight from Kvatch. Stashed it in the usual spot.
Good. Poor Saldry has no idea how valuable he's been to our operation.
You going to fetch it now?
Later, maybe after a couple of drinks. It's not going anywhere.
You did? I mean, of course you did. It all went according to the manual, Section 1B of Chapter 12, on how to deal with pirates. I trust you have everything you need then. The grass should be well dried, just as Isabel asked. Apparently that's how you fit more into an alembic. I suppose I should also offer you a reward for helping this transaction move along. Yes, you deserve it. I thank you on behalf of the entire East Empire Trading Company.
Being a true hero, I take it you would have run all the way to Kvatch if you had to. Hopefully it was a little easier than that. I guess all that's left now is to forge the axe. Have you gotten word from your friends? Alright, you can tell them I'll do it. I'll forge the axe. And when it's done, no beast, dragon, or otherwise will be a match for its edge.
I'm sorry. I realize you two are close.
You're sorry? How dare you speak his name, healer?
You don't blame me. You blame yourself. I know because I did the same.
You know nothing.
Folatild.
By Izmir, I should have stayed with him.
Relax, you two. We don't know that he's dead for certain, but we don't have time to assume anything else.
So does this mean you're going to help?
I didn't say that. As I told the Thane, I won't commit my men on a path to treason until you prove the girl is of royal blood. But obviously, with Larston missing, I'm willing to provide some aid. But first, you must tell me where this child is being held.
To be honest, I'm curious myself. Healing the child is my sole responsibility.
Child? You two don't get it. There is no child.
What? What do you mean?
It was years ago. The Jarl of Whiterun asked me to find a boy in Cyrodiil. He never said why. It wasn't a rescue. It was a kidnapping. But I convinced myself it was the right thing. But the boy came home. He said he was looking for the heir to Ysgramor. He never realized he was looking for himself. Larston is your bastard king. The blade is to be forged with his blood.
Unbelievable. Why would he hide this from us?
He doesn't know. When the boy was kidnapped, my orders were to kill anyone who came looking for him. I would have killed him too, if we hadn't met that day on the hillside. Maybe it was a mistake. It all seems that way now.
So he thinks you're the queen. When were you planning on telling him?
I don't know.
Bah! What am I doing here then? Are you asking that my men commit treason to put a ghost on the throne?
You said it yourself. He could still be alive.
And even if he is, what state will his mind be in? We don't have much time before he breaks.
Then we should do our best to find him.
It wasn't all lies, you know. That story about the saber cat. It was the only real thing we could ever share.
He spoke about that day often. How he was lost in thought, ambling up that hillside.
That sounds like him. He was so busy thinking. He never saw the saber cat until he was halfway down its stomach.
From that moment and every day after, his thoughts were always of you. Keep him in your prayers. As Kara said, he may still be alive yet. So the letter arrived, just not in time. We were ambushed. Yes, likely the same group that attacked you in Riverwood. The blood of Skyrim. They were posing as wounded soldiers. No, not posing. They were wounded. Such was their discipline and commitment to their trap. As soldiers, it wasn't unusual for them to be carrying weapons. One of them knocked me over the head just as I was healing the last of them. I lost consciousness, but by the Atronach's blessing, I managed to survive. Unfortunately, when I awoke, both the Thane and the soldiers were gone. Not exactly. They might want to discover what he knows. At which point, death might have been the merciful end. May the stars watch over him and give him strength. Yes, that was surprising. Still, it doesn't change anything. The ritual is perilous, regardless of the person's age or constitution. I don't agree with the idea of risking anyone's life, nor do I believe the Thane's claim to the throne is particularly strong. But I cannot stand idly by and let him perish. If we find him, and he still wants to go through with it, I'll heal him. Then you should relay that to Kris, Dragonborn. With the Thane gone, it would be best to defer to him. I am at your assistance.
When the Thane looked upon this axe, he saw a symbol of peace, a way to unite every Nord under the kin of their greatest ancestor. What I see is a weapon, one powerful enough to slay a god, because in the end, the only peace that ever lasts is the kind brokered through fear. Tell me, Dragonborn, what do you think makes a ruler? Does the boy have a chance? That's the question I want answered. Does the boy have the blessing of the divines? He doesn't appear that way now. Every warrior needs an axe, and every king needs an army. I wonder if Larsden will be able to forge either. Forged from the bones of Borges himself, apparently, and the blood of his bastard kin. The edge is so sharp it dulls quickly, and only responds to the right blood. Thus it is proof of one's lineage, but not one's valor. For that, there is another ritual. The slaying of a beast, said to be the very monster that slew Borges. Soldiers on both sides of the war. Sons and daughters who grew tired of the choice between Ulfric's ambition and the Empire's incompetence. We all continue to serve faithfully, while at the same time, we serve Skyrim above any who wears a crown. If Thane Larsden, if he is what's best for this land, then we will all turn our cloaks to his colors. But you'll excuse me if I have my doubts. The boy has proven nothing yet, and I won't ask my men to be rebels for a lie. Any good news is welcome, although obviously things have changed now that we know Larsden is the king. We take 2 steps forward only to stumble 3 steps back. At this rate, we're better off waiting for the next king's moot. Right now, we have other concerns, but it's progress nevertheless. I'll have someone get to work on pinpointing the location. Follow me. I don't want to discuss this in front of the girl. These were the previous occupants of this shack. Dragons got them, it seems. Burned by fire while trying to light their own. In many ways, That is what this ritual is. It's a flame. And it's my job to make sure it's used correctly. I know of Gren and his claim. I know he's kidnapped Larston, and he plans to trade him for the axe. I thought if Folatild was made aware, she would trade both the Child Queen and the axe to save him. But if Larston is the king, I don't know if he'll make for a good ruler. Something tells me this whole thing is a fool's endeavor. But what I do know is Gren cannot be allowed to take the throne. He is the kind of torch that will set all of Skyrim aflame. I have friends at the courier's office that intercepted a letter. It was meant for Folatild, but I'm giving it to you. Your job is to tell him that Larsdale means nothing to us. As far as he knows, we have our queen, and the blade will be forged with her blood. Obviously, this is just between us. The girl loves him too much, and the healer doesn't care about the axe or what it means if Gren has it. I know, which is why this has to stay between the two of us. But think of the alternative. If they know the claim is between Gren and Larston, it will take all of 2 seconds for them to realize killing him will leave only one. No, we need to find out where he's being held and extract him ourselves. I want you to talk to his men, see if they'll reveal something. You're the Dragonborn. People respect you. The same sort of people who would follow someone like Gren. Just remember who you are, and what's at stake. Good luck.
Hold on. I'm coming with you.
No. Folatild is suspicious enough as it is. It's best you stay here.
If we find the Thane, you're going to need a healer. I'm the only thing that can stand between him and Aetherius.
Fine. But you two damn well better succeed. There's been enough mourning for one day.
Let's go. Hopefully someone at their camp will betray the Thane's whereabouts.
Stormcloak or Imperial? Fresh meat then. Gren loves those. It makes for a more cohesive unit. You can get your uniform from the quartermaster, Frigg. Let me know if you have any further questions. Former Imperial tents. The distinction is rather important, especially for many of the soldiers here. For the ex-legionnaires, it makes them feel at home. For the ex-Stormcloaks, they like the idea we stole the tents from the Empire. It really comes down to craftsmanship, however. If the Stormcloaks made better tents, we would have killed them instead. Prisoners of war. They'll either be given the choice of joining the Blood, or dying of blood loss. To be honest, for my brother, Brune, he used to be a farmhand, and back then everyone called him Ox. Gren was the only one in town who bothered to learn his name. Sometimes you'll curse him out or have a laugh at his expense, but the one thing he'll always do is call him by name. As for me, I promised Ma and Pa I'd look after my little brother, so here I am. That's not a question you should be asking if you want to keep your head. Do I have to walk you to him? He's the Nord in the apron on the southeast end of the camp, near all the smithing tools. He's a good smith, and a decent man, even if he is one of Eldritch's. The war teacher. Outside of that senile old man Ulfrim, he's the only one around here that knows anything about these rituals. Gren sends him a few of the lesser recruits every now and then for training. None of them ever come back. Except Frigg. When our previous blacksmith fell ill, Frigg returned to replace him. He mostly keeps to himself, but when he does talk, it's rather strange. Talk to him yourself. He doesn't speak like the rest of us. Mixes in some of the old tongue. He's the one who first started calling Eldritch the war teacher instead of the court wizard. You'd have to ask Eldritch about that. He's the one who handles the ritual. Gren handles the military side of things. Of course, it was different when Ulfrim was here, but the old fool lost his mind. Now Eldritch is the only authority on the subject. That's not an easy question to answer. Does a Jarl have control over his apothecary? In most matters, yes. He could sentence the apothecary to death if he wished, but if the Jarl were to get sick, he'd have no choice but to listen.
Hey! You're not supposed to be in here.
How fast is it moving?
Shut your mouth,
You can't tell me
or
that.
else
You might as well head
shut
over
it
to Frigg. I tell him you want an apron.
Oh, for the love of Talos, Brun, let him in. Dragonborn, how nice it is to finally meet you. You're far more handsome than the rumors give you credit for. And I'm relieved for that. You see, my charges are a faithful lot, but not the most pleasant to look at. You think these ones are ugly? You should meet my war teacher. He must have liked climbing trees as a child, and falling down more so. Either that, or he washes his face with bees. You know how these alchemist mage types are. Too bad he couldn't be here to show you. He's quite busy, you see, torturing your friend. Oh, come on now. You know which one I'm talking about. Or maybe you don't. I recall asking for the Thane's house, Carl. You seem far more indifferent. Very clever on her part sending you, but it won't work. Your friend's life is in the balance, but you can save him. It all depends on how you answer this question. Where is my ex? What happens? You mean you don't know? To be honest, neither do I. I'm waiting for Eldritch to come up with something sufficiently ghoulish. But fine, if that's the way you want to play it, then just tell the quartermaster where you live, so we know where to send the body parts.
So, you've met our Lord Gren, twice returned, harbinger of us all. I'm sure you were impressed. It's natural, given our Lord speaks only in the battle cries, and every word builds a mountain of courage as high as the spires of Windhelm. I try to motivate this sorry lot, but even if I choose my words wisely, they will never measure up to his. Besides, it's not as if I'm training fire-breathing Urlak. These three are too busy sucking air.
Gren mentioned...
Ah, you mean Eldritch. Frigg would know more about this, but I think the war teachers of old were wise men, as opposed to instructors like me. He calls him a lot of names. War teacher, all-seer, and the like. The rest of us just call him creepy. But as long as he recognizes our Lord Gren as the harbinger of us all, I have no problem with the man.
This freak sounds interesting, but we should make sure we talk with everyone.
They sung of the return, 500 sons and daughters, a battle cry to banish the old from the snow-drenched earth. And they sing once more, for he will come, twice named, and now twice return, Lord Ysgramor, harbinger of us all. Hail, mighty oarsman. I am Frigg, the builder. I craft the earthen longboats to sail the honor bearers so we might end the days of the old sin. With honor you give me 2 names, when I own but one. But you are Dovahkiin, and your voice speaks for the gods. So it shall be, a mighty boat I must build, to send you to sun-bright lands. For when eye meets eye in the face of our Lord, that which left by force shall return by will. The one called the Bowstringer, he teaches battle, but is not a war teacher, for he is not far-sighted like the all-seer Eldritch. Sevrila does not speak with tongue, for it is not made of steel. Bruin, whose weapon shouts, suffers the same, but not by will. Hjolm the strategist sets the Nameless on a path, and tells the builder on what boat they should sail. Still, some Nameless call themselves things, but a name given by self is not a name. The Nameless call him a mage in their idleness of mind, but magic the war teacher does not wield. He draws the lifeblood from the animal spirits, and when kind's blessing first received, even the Nameless are glory-born. The Nameless cannot lose their self, for a self they do not own. I too was to be blessed with the animal spirit, but the war teacher saw my hand drink the hammer and turn steel into slave. From henceforth, I was to be called the Builder, to build the longboats that will deliver the Lord to our shores. The war teacher is not just a strategist of battle or a teacher of the axe. He is a wise man, far-sighted, an all-seer of time. When the war teacher speaks, even the ink will silence the wind and chisel the stone. But his word, battle-cried, is only the herald. His horn sounds the call, but it is not the Lord. The war teacher bows to the twice-named, twice-returned. Perhaps it is the one you call Gren. Perhaps it is another. Adrimk the Wise taught the Nameless to use axes, and showed the Shield brothers and sisters how war is made. But he was also a wise man, a teacher of courage, to guide one's path from children to men. As time has passed, we are all knowledge-given, all experts of war. But what we have lost is the way. Eldritch, the All-Seer, he shows the path, back to the beginning, to change the end. This I cannot reveal. The war teacher, he is the speaker, and to him all ears are trained. I am the builder, and will craft the boat, so you may hear the cresting of his waves. The war teacher sounds the horn, so that all hear your name. Go to him, hoist the mast and set sail south to a mill of heart's wood. When rest is gained, and the day is born, sail upon dew-splashed seas of green, to the ruins where stone bleeds wind.
The Mill of Heart's Wood is obvious enough. We should probably head there first anyways, and see if the residents are safe.
But I would gut you like a fish. I suppose I could thief, but then there'd be no reason to fight.
Last mistake. Die, you filthy better!
Well, traveler, try as we might. It looks like we can't go more than 50 paces without running into each other. Neither would I. Traveling across Skyrim just isn't the same without you. So, tell me, what brings you to the Rift?
We're looking for a Nord ruin in this area. Someplace where the stone bleeds wind.
Bleeding wind? That I don't know. If it was breaking wind, we'd be talking about Arnwolf. But I take it he's doing that in Sovngarde. I almost feel sorry for those old heroes. One night in that stink, and even Eskrimor is gonna wish he died a coward.
What about a group of soldiers calling themselves the Blood of Skyrim?
Maybe. There's been talk of a group of bandits holed up in an old barrow to the west of here. Only they all dress the same, and they've been forcing the farms to ration them supplies by order of the High King. So what are they? A cult? All the more reason for the three of us to work together. In any case, we can head straight west from here. Once we hit the mountain, just look for the columns with the eagle heads. This is a large barrow, traveler. I suggest we start with the catacombs.
Just curious. Is there a reason you think that's where they'll be?
Within my grasp. I have to give it all up.
I
because they're
know
afraid
that's
of a
where
few
the
dead
Draugr
bodies.
are, and it'd be a shame not to slay a few on the way.
Alright. We don't have time to go in circles. We have even less time to argue. The catacombs it is. Well, here are the Draugr you were asking for.
The one time the gods listened to my request, and it's this of all things.
Thane.
By the Hist.
Are you alright? Can you hear me?
I'm fine. The spell, it seems to be working. Just give me a moment.
Thank the mage. Do you think you can walk?
Yeah, I'll be alright. What about the others?
On the brink of death. It doesn't look like magic will be enough. Plus their eyes and tongues have been cut out. What kind of sick ritual is going on here?
I don't know. I never even saw his face. But your faces I can plainly see, and none have been more welcome. Well, I guess, Dragonborn, it's good to see you both. And you as well, stranger. Any friend of the Dragonborn is a friend of mine.
The honor is mine, Thane. Or should I say, King?
So it's true then, what the madman said. Follow Tilt. She lied to me. How could she have kept this from me? She was trying to protect the bastard king. Trying to protect the throne. She cared little of what became of me. But I will deal with her later. I don't suppose we can find the madman who did this to me?
Look around. Even if you don't find anything on the war teacher, you may be able to gather more information on the ritual. I will see if any of these wounded can be saved.
Try upstairs. Before you came, there were all sorts of noises. And maybe I was going mad, but I thought I heard writing.
What happened?
It looks like the prisoners succumbed to the inevitable. I commit their souls to Aetherius.
Wait. I think one of them's missing. Up front, I swear it by the Hist. There was someone there. Let's go, traveler. He couldn't have gotten far.
Hold on. Thane is in no shape for a fight. It would be unwise to split up now. It's likely whoever he was, he's already gotten away.
I don't know, healer. It seems like he only got away because we let him. Let's just hope we don't end up on the wrong end of this trade. You're right. He can't hide. Not from us.
So you know your destiny. But is it something you want?
That's a good question. Thane Larston would have loved a chance at the throne. But who am I, really?
I'm afraid those are questions for your housecarl.
What else has she hidden from me? This supposed housecarl of mine.
I don't know. But I will say whatever secret she kept, it pained her to do so.
Yes, she's a talented actor. Valgus, my friend, it is impossible to tell you how much I appreciate the open air right now.
Don't overdo it and go running through the forest. We need to maintain our strength. The scam seems like the ideal place to stop and rest.
Rest? There's another thing I need to reacquaint myself with. I'm not sure I have enough blood left for this ritual.
So you're committed to seeing this through? I had hoped that you'd reconsider.
I told you, Valgus. Skyrim comes first. If it means I must spill my own blood, then so be it.
Then you leave me no choice but to hail you. But my involvement ends there.
An Imperial to the end. And what about you, Knight? I doubt you have much interest in politics, but there is glory to be had in slaying the beast.
I'm sorry, Thane, but you three will have to go on without me. I have business in Riften. They may not understand, but I know you will. Ever since Dalum A died, I keep thinking back to that day, and the child that was spared. Sometimes I feel like this boy. He's the last bit of honor we have left. I owe it to the company to make sure he's safe. And seeing that temple of blood, it was a reminder of how dangerous this world can be. I thought I'd make a stop there and ask the caretaker if they've seen him. Maybe he was tired of traveling and just wanted a normal life. So we part ways once more, traveler. Next time you come back to the rift, ask for the lizard in mourning.
Until we meet again, Swamp Knight.
Safe travels, all of you.
The axe is worthless without him. I would give Gren 100 ancient relics if that's what it takes.
Don't you see? The boy's claim is just as worthless without the axe.
That boy is your king.
And back from the dead, it seems. Well done, Dragonborn.
My love!
There is no need to carry on this farce. I know my destiny.
Then you know you're to be king?
Yes, I know. And the sad part is, it was the enemy who told me what my own housecarl sought to conceal.
I never wanted to hurt you.
I want you out of this place by tomorrow.
No. But why? What about us?
There is no us. Karis! I take it we still have the axe. And what of the blacksmith?
The girl from Kvatch, the Dragonborn, convinced to help our cause. She's actually down there now. She wanted to see the forge for herself.
Excellent. Then we'll begin the ritual now.
No, you can't. It's too soon.
She's right. Even with the most powerful of spells, I can only do so much.
You forget. The blood of kings flows through my veins. We will do the ritual now. With or without you.
Then I suppose it can't be helped.
Blacksmith, is the weapon ready to be forged?
You want to do this now? Oh, I suppose I could. All I really need is the blood.
The blood is right here. We will do this the old way. Quench the axe from within my body.
What? Boy, that's insane.
There are no shortcuts to our intended goal. If I am to be king, the ritual must be done right.
You wouldn't do this if it was Volatil taking the axe.
This is how the axe is supposed to be forged. And if I survive, your eyes will all be witness to legend.
And if you die?
Then you have my permission to toss me in the lake.
My lord, the axe is ready, but it has to be now.
I am ready. Ancestors, smile upon me.
you're up. I can see why you'd want some rest, given the events of the past few days. As you know, the axe was forged, but Larston suffered grave injuries. It still amazes me that he managed to survive. I've heard Gren has decided to try Ulfric's approach, and take the throne by force. That likely won't end well. The healer returned to wandering the camps, and the blacksmith returned to her forge. Larsden left this morning for the Temple of Cain. The rest of us cater to his every whim, but his body refuses to cooperate. As for Folatild, she left quietly in the night. It was rough, but I don't blame the Thane. Not after the lies she spun. The fool takes it with him, like a badge of honor. He says it will inspire the people and rally them behind him. More like it will inspire an enterprising thief to take it off his belt. Not that he listens to me. How could I forget? When the axe felled our would-be king, the ground itself shook as if some great monster was rising from the earth. The beast, no doubt. The one the legends speak of. It heard our king's challenge, and it roared to meet it. I nearly dropped to my knees. We all did. Shore's bones, it jostled my very soul. But it's strange. The source of it, did you feel it? It was almost as if the beast was there in that cave with us. But that's impossible. The boy paid a price for his impatience. He is in no condition to fight the beast. I told him there's nothing that says we couldn't kill it on his behalf. But as you saw, he wants to do this right. I'm sure he will send for you when he has recovered. For now, take this. You did a great service to Skyrim, Dragonborn. Thank you.
Yes. As you know, I gave up war and politics long ago. Now all I wish to do is heal the wounded. But I can only do so much.
Ah, Dragonborn. Good to see you. As you can see, the reports of my demise were premature. I'm surprised you even need ask. I'm the blood of Iskramor. But, Danica's magic has helped some.
My body burns.
Sharp enough to cut Stalrim. Just as the legend says.
I feel better already.
This beast cannot hide from me. I will prove my valor, just as I proved my blood. She's lucky I let her live. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Karis has men scouting the area where Ulfrim's journal pointed to. I must thank you for retrieving it. As for me, I've never felt stronger. Karis said the beast roared in fear during the ritual. I didn't hear it myself, but it's a likely story. I confess I don't really recall. Mostly I remember the dreams that followed. I saw strange beasts, and the countryside razed by war. It felt like I was looking through Borges' eyes, except I saw him. Or rather, I think it was him, wearing a jagged crown. Take care, Dragonborn. No doubt, I will have you as my squire when the time comes to slay this beast.